Hey, my name's Kayla LeVieux, for those of you guys who don't know me, and I wanted to take just a moment to show you guys a couple of Web 2.0 tools that I've been integrating into my lessons that have just made them so much easier. Okay, the first one that I have for you is Nearpod. I started integrating Nearpod a little while ago because I had the worst problems with my kids rushing through their work. So I already know as a middle school teacher, as soon as I start lecturing or going over notes or whatever we're doing, I only have their attention for like 8 to 12 minutes. I mean, max. Like, if I can even get that in. So what I started doing is putting a lot of the work that I wanted to go over, or like more thoroughly, putting more details into what I'm saying in their PowerPoint presentations for them. That way, after I go over it, they have an artifact themselves that they can take, go over it whenever they need, go through it as quickly or as slowly as they want to, and kind of refer back to it when needed. Now, as a teacher, to make sure that they're actually doing their work and not just skipping through slides over and over again, I started integrating Nearpod and putting in quizzes and polls after every couple of slides. So I'll show you what this looks like. So this that I have in my setup is our thematic essay notes. They're longer. I don't want my kids to go through all of them. I don't want them to copy all of this down. This is just information I wanted them to kind of start to retain and introduce to them. So here we have what I need for my introduction paragraph. And after that, there's a little quiz. So all I had to do to add it was just click add on. It's built right into Google Slides. And what it does is just ask a quick question, a quick comprehension question about the previous slide. Now for me, what this does is it slows my kids down so they can't just skip to the end of the slide and be like, I'm done with my work. Now what do you want me to do? Because we all have those kids, right? So this asks specific questions about the previous slides just to see if they're paying attention. And if they keep getting it wrong, it won't let them move on to the next slide until they get the answer right. So if I have a kid that genuinely doesn't understand what they're doing, they can raise their hand if we're in person or send me a comment if we're digital and ask me, Miss LeVieux, I keep getting this question wrong. What do I need to review? And that stops them right there before they move on and don't understand the basics of what I need first. So I really enjoy that. The next feature that I really like, this is the quiz integration that I have set up, but I also like to add in polls. And this just slows them down and makes them think about what they actually understand. So I have a basic level of understanding. I'm a pro at introduction paragraphs. I'm kind of starting to get it. I'm not feeling so great about it yet. Or what's an introduction paragraph? So this just lets me know, okay, so far my kids can work independently to this point. Or I don't need to spend 20 minutes on introduction paragraphs when they already have it based on the information that I've given them. So that way it kind of helps me pace my class a little bit better and also get a quick assessment of their level of understanding. Also, it helps if I see a kid who answered, because as soon as they answered, I can see it on my screen. They can't see it on theirs unless I want them to. But I don't like them to see their polls because it's I don't want them to know who's answering it. But what it does is it lets me know, if someone clicks, I'm not feeling great about it, I can stop and walk to them while they're working independently and kind of go over that information. And I like that because all of my kids work at different speeds. So I might have someone who doesn't need my help right away, someone who does. And this instant feedback allows me to walk around and address the students who do need my help while letting the others who are great working independently, kind of leaving them alone and letting them learn how they learn best. Okay, the next Web 2.0 tool that I've kind of fallen in love with, for me is actually Bookit, but I know a lot of people are starting to use Gimkit, and if I'm saying that right, I hope I am. And Gimkit to me is kind of like Kahoot on steroids. All of us have put Kahoot, we put Kahoot into the ground to the point where when the teacher next door is playing it, I already know what they're doing for that day just because of the music coming through the walls. So Gimkit is kind of like Kahoot on steroids. It gives you a bunch of different levels you can play, different types of games your kids can play together, and it's really awesome. The only thing that I don't like about it is it's kind of limited in how many times the kids can play and what you have access to as far as creating your quizzes or your questions, which is why I started using Bookit. Bookit is pretty much the exact same thing as Gimkit. It's just free. Everything is free. I can copy different, this was our ethos, pathos, and logos one we just did. I can review the questions and answers before I assign it. And then as soon as you host it, just like Gimkit, it's got all kinds of different games for them to play. My kid's favorite is Gold Quest, because in Gold Quest, you answer the question right and you get a power and you can steal coins from their people. So I have those kids who are always first. And while I understand, yes, they deserve to be first. They know the most. They've been studying or whatever. It kind of takes away that internal motivation for kids who are constantly last in the games. So what this does is, like, if you get the question right, you can switch places with the first place person. So it kind of makes everybody on the same level of playing, and I really enjoy that. You also have Battle Royale, which is really cute. They can play solo, they battle each other, and they have a certain amount of lives, or it'll assign them in random groups all together and assign them names. So you don't have to come up with group names, which takes so long. It just assigns them names and assigns them groups, and then they're instantly competing. So before COVID, as soon as they were in a group, they'd run to their group, and they would all kind of help each other out. Now it's just kind of like, you gotta stay where you are and hope that everyone's gonna pull their weight for your group. But they still really enjoy it. Racing is also really fun. That's where you can just see where everyone's going across the board and like who's getting there the fastest. And you also have like Classic, which is just like Kahoot. So if you were like kind of new to this, but you're like, I want to try it, great place to start. What I also liked about this is that as soon as you start playing, you can also assign the stuff for homework, which I did a couple of days ago for vocabulary review. We were having some issues with identifying ethos, pathos, and logos. So I assigned the vocabulary words and a couple of text examples of each one, and they had to identify if it was ethos, pathos, or logos. And they just got to keep practicing it at home. So when we came back and we all kind of played together, they were already aware of what was going on. They had a better handle on vocabulary, and it's just really awesome. So those are just a couple of Web 2.0 tools that I've just really enjoyed integrating in my classroom and wanted to let you guys know about them.